Hey everybody, welcome back to Sounds Like a Drum, Cadence Independent Media Production. Today, Ben and I have taken the time to put together the only buyer's guide you're going to need for the 2022 holiday season. Now, the reason this is the only one you need is because we're not here to talk to you about any products that are coming out this holiday season or telling you about anything that you need to buy. This isn't about that. This is way more important. What we're talking about today is how to protect yourself as a buyer going into this season where everyone under the sun is trying to sell you things that you don't need, convince you that you do need them, take your money, and basically waste your time. Now, before you stop this, dip out and go watch another video that's going to tell you all the things you need to buy this year that are hot and exciting and you can put on the gram and have fun with. We don't need to be doing that. That is not the point of all these instruments that we have in front of us. We need to take a completely different tack going into this season of sales and excitement and possibly spending tons of money and make sure that we are getting things that we need, also getting things that we want, and not going down rabbit holes that are taking us away from fulfilling those goals. What this is not is a speech about how we shouldn't be buying things. That's crazy. We're all going to get something interesting over the holiday season, from something little to something big. This is about being able to wade through all of the noise surrounding the things that we actually want so that we don't end up getting epic fails out of all of these sales. Now, we're already into the holiday season. We got sales on the horizon. Pretty much no matter where you may live in the world, we are experiencing sales of one sort or another. In America right now, we have Black Friday. Also, people are thinking about Christmas. And the first thing that we need to do in order to protect ourselves from all this insanity is to identify needs, identify wants, and make sure that we are thinking in terms of just those two things and keeping everything else out of the way. For everything on the wants or needs list that we have, the internet and the television and stores in general have 100,000 other things that they are also trying to sell. And if it's not something that's on our needs or wants list, they want it to be. So that means that we have to keep an eye out for starting to experience maybe FOMO through advertising or FOMO through somebody else's posts on social media that's taking us away from the things that we know that we want and need and starting to add stuff to the list that's not really coming from us. For anyone watching that is unfamiliar with the term FOMO, fear of missing out, it is a really, really frustrating part of being on the internet, especially in this day and age, because we get to see so many people experiencing so much fun with things and stuff and money, and we start to feel bad about it. Once we've identified our needs and our wants, and it's important to note here too that wants and needs, one is not better than the other. They're just two columns that may intersect a little bit, but we need to have them separate so that we can talk about them intelligently. Once we know these things, we need to start talking about a budget. How much can we spend? Never forget that a budget is not an amount of money that we have to spend. It's the maximum amount of money that we can spend and remain okay in our lives. My best experiences with budgeting for a purchase revolve around the idea that I don't want to spend the maximum. What I want to do is say, if I must, then I can go that high. But if anything, I'm actually searching for an opportunity to get a deal on that item, whether it's during holiday sales or not. And this is a great time to be doing that because these sales are already in motion and a lot of companies are trying to move a lot more product because it's the end of the year. If you're getting the impression that we have a negative connotation to these sales, that's not the case at all. Any opportunity to get something that you want or need at a lower price is a good thing. What we want here is just really good intellectual focus on staying on target with what we're looking for so that we don't get distracted and end up making choices that are bad for us. Once we're in the midst of the hunt for whatever it is that we need or want and are trying to buy, we are going to run into all of the rest of the stuff that is also on sale and that companies and stores want to sell to us. What that means is that we're going to start running into, again, a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of impulse buying, maybe seeing something, getting excited because it's so much cheaper, even though we don't necessarily want or need it. And lastly, experiencing justification, either before a purchase or after, to explain to ourselves why we now want this thing or why we suddenly decided that we were going to buy it. That's not fundamentally bad. Sometimes in the moment you realize that you could use whatever product it might be, and it is justified to get it without having planned ahead, and as long as the budget holds for it, good to go. But this is still in the realm of making rational decisions and not emotional decisions. We live in a time now where you can have pretty much anything in the world delivered to you overnight because of the internet. And we as drummers and also just as people here at the channel, Ben and I really care about small business, we care about brick and mortar stores, and we care about the social experience of the drum shop. What this means is that I like to have a hierarchy for where I order things from or where I purchase them in the first place. And for me, that starts with a brick and mortar store locally, goes to ordering from maybe a wider radius of brick and mortar stores that are still the local drum shop there, and then possibly to a larger online retailer before getting to the giant shipping retailers that we know and have to use sometimes. As not all of us have, if you've had the privilege of visiting a brick and mortar drum shop and hanging out with the owner and going through all the different interesting things that they might have there in the used piles, you know that they thrive on local business first and foremost, and the best way that we can keep these places alive, not just the store but the community, is by giving them our money, by making sure that we are purchasing from them so that they can stay open and not become a thing of the past. So finally, the day has come, the sale is in motion, we have our budget figured out, we know what we want, we know what we need, we know what we're looking for. The big final piece of the puzzle is standing our ground and making sure that we do what we said we would do. We have made a de facto promise to ourselves to make sure that we don't let our spending go off the rails and that we get the things that we need and maybe something we want if it folds in nicely. And that will result in minimal buyer's remorse, minimal actual FOMO, not feeling any guilt about how we justified buying something we didn't need, and get us back to playing the drums, which is why we're here in the first place. On a little bit more of a personal note, both Ben and I have experienced all of the stuff that we're talking about here. You know, we've both been playing drums and buying drums and cymbals for a pretty long time now, and the way that these times of the year and all the excitement and also anxiety around trying to figure out how to take part in these deals and get things that we want or things that we've been coveting for a while, it takes a toll on you, and it can actually become an exhausting experience that gets in the way of feeling creative and wanting to play. And there's nothing worse than having something on your kit that you figured out a way to get that you didn't really want, and then you feel kind of stupid for doing it, you know, and then going through all the rigmarole of trying to resell it again or losing money on that and feeling bad about the whole process. At the end of the day, we want to feel good about this. We want to feel momentum and excitement and creativity and inspiration from this opportunity to add some cool stuff to the drum set when these deals are around. So if we can keep our head on straight and be really decisive and make sure that we do exactly what we want and exactly what we need, we all come out on top. We can continue having a blast. We also really want to mention that if at all possible, if you're looking at a product that was made originally by a certain person or a certain company that had a great idea, followed it to fruition, and made a successful product, please at least try to get the original if you can, because there's a lot of real innovation going on out there. And for the record, in case anybody's wondering, we are pro innovation at Sounds Like a Drum. We love it. It's our favorite. So that means for us that we need to reward true innovation and make sure that whoever's doing it, be it a single person or a larger company, that they are feeling support from the community, feeling support from us, whether it's purchasing from them or tagging them when you make a video using one of their products, whatever it is. Make sure that we are elevating the originators. And if there are other versions of a product that do something slightly different, that's cool too. But there's nothing like the original, especially when it's something really, really special. And lastly, if you like, we'd love to hear about a piece of gear that you already have that you just really like. And maybe if there's a funny story about how you got it, bring that in too, because at the end of the day, the things that we already have and love are still our favorite.